Will you stop it? It's like working with a couple of squabbling kids with you two.
Hello and welcome, or indeed welcome back, to another episode of Hands on Film. We are welcoming back Richard Bridgerton, as the previous time he was on, if you recall, he hadn't actually watched the film.
Oh, hang on a second.
Israel, you know that isn't true.
It's my truth.
That may be so, but it's got no bearing on reality.
It's your fault anyway. You should have told me there was a new film out.
Fine, let's just get on.
Can I do the synopsis?
The show is called Hands on Film, not Bridgerton on Film.
Richard, let Israel do the synopsis. You can lead the discussion and the summary. How about that?
Fine.
Fine.
Okay, let's get on with it.
Thank you, Ben. So, we are back more than 30 years after the original film. Some stuff happens with a supersonic aircraft, and some arsehole gets upset. But none of that matters, because it results in Tom being recalled to Top Gun Academy, which is brilliant.
It's because he pushed an experimental aircraft past Mark 10.
I said it wasn't important.
But it is.
It isn't.
If you two don't stop bickering, I swear I'm going to...
Okay. So, Tom arrives, heads straight to a bar, where he meets Sarah from Labyrinth.
You mean Jennifer Connelly?
Yeah, that's right. How the hell is she not aged?
I don't know. She looks amazing, doesn't she?
And a fine actor.
Okay, I'm glad you both started to be civil, but we need to leave that for the discussion section.
Oh, could we review Labyrinth? Now, that was an excellent film.
I'll make a deal with you. If we can get through this within the next half an hour, we can review Labyrinth. Okay?
Oh, deal. So, Tom goes to Jennifer Connelly's bar. This is also an opportunity for the film to introduce the rest of the team, most of whom are pretty inconsequential, with the exception of Goose's son, who will act as an emotional conflict for Tom and be a mirror for his misplaced guilt. The others include New Iceman, but he's not important. The crux of the story is Tom needs to train and pick a team for an impossible mission to destroy a facility before it opens and enables the unnamed country, which is definitely not Russia or Iran, to manufacture nuclear weapons. He is definitely not to go on the mission himself.
Something wrong with your face?
The training takes up the lion's share of the film, with the predictable competition between the new recruits. The main conflict, as mentioned, comes from Goose's son, who blames Tom for the death of his father and for holding back his entry into the Naval Academy, or something like that. Oh, and also the love story between him and Jennifer Connelly, but that is a bit pointless.
Don't forget that Maverick consistently beats the recruits in all the training exercises.
There is another half-naked, homoerotic, testosterone-fueled beach game, but Tom isn't in it much, so who cares?
There's several women in there as well.
Well, they were the most testosterone-fueled. Anyway, Iceman dies. Sorry, I forgot to mention that he's in the film. This leads to more conflict. The mission is brought forward. Didn't see that coming. None of the pilots believe it is possible, so Tom goes out to prove that it is, of course succeeding, because he is the best. He's chosen to lead the mission. It would have saved a lot of time if that was decided at the start. But then we would have had less Tom time. He chooses his team, obviously including Goose's son, and some others. I forget who they were, though. The team manages to complete the objective, but the enemy has missile lock on Goose's son. Tom saves him by sacrificing his plane. Goose's son does the same thing to save Tom. They steal a different plane and head back. There is a little fight in the air with some enemy jets, and Tom runs out of missiles, allowing New Iceman to swoop in and save them, trying to steal some of Tom's thunder. Some other stuff happens, and Tom drives off with Jennifer Connelly.
Have you finished?
Yes.
Good. Can I start the discussion now?
Go ahead, Richard.
It was magnificent. I can't believe I never heard of it before.
Is your name Richard?
No. Thank Juno.
Well then, carry on, Richard.
It actually was a magnificent film.
I just said that.
I like the planes.
Oh,
What?
you like the planes? What kind of comment is that?
Well, I thought the visuals were excellent. They performed as many of the effects practically as possible, even going so far as having the actors fly real jets whilst operating their own cameras, so you could see the forces genuinely acting upon them.
The action scenes were awesome. So much better than CG crap.
And that's pretty much what I just said. I wouldn't say CGI's crap. It's used all the time. Half the time you don't even notice it.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm agreeing with you. If they had used CGI, it would have never achieved that same emotional level.
I like CG.
Okay.
Some good points there, Richard. Carry on.
Stupid points.
The plot was definitely not complex, but it was more filled out than the original.
I actually agree with Richard.
Oh. Thank you.
They repeated a lot of the elements from the original, but the overall arc was superior. The love story with Tom and Jennifer Connelly, for example, was much stronger than with Charles in the original, but it did feel a little superfluous and bolted on.
The main drama was between Maverick and...
Goose's son.
This will work a lot better if you don't keep interrupting each other. Richard, carry on.
This played out very strongly by Miles Teller, who has just gone from strength to strength since being in that terrible Fantastic Four movie.
It was shit, wasn't it?
Awful.
But who cares about him? It was all about Tom.
The conflict between the two brought back that unresolved guilt that Maverick felt of the death of his friend.
That was Iceman's fault.
I don't think so.
It was. But actually, I will say that the scene between Tom and Iceman was a very nice tribute to Valerie Kilmer.
And sensitively done.
Yes, indeed.
There! Good. You see how well we do when we get on. Anything else?
Cinematography was stunning, soundscape was excellent, some classy, nostalgic tracks.
Any negatives?
Well, I would have had less of the others and more Tom time.
Richard?
Well, I have a few. Well, some of the dialogue was a little weak.
Well, I guess that is true. But you should have been focusing more on Tom.
Outside of Maverick and Rooster, there was little character development. Hangman, for example, felt like an underdeveloped Iceman too.
I'm sure I already said that.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. But again, not important. It was all about Tom. Also, they both sounded like Skeletor's henchmen anyway.
The enemy was odd. They were obviously determined not to demonize another nation or humanize their pilots, but it did make the story a little simplistically good versus evil. I mean, the real conflict, of course, came from within the two main characters.
Oh, I do have one.
Okay.
I didn't like the teamwork crap.
Right. Let's sum up, shall we?
Oh, yes. Well, absolutely.
Ben said I could do the summary.
I did, Israel. Let Richard do the summing up.
Fine.
Go ahead, Richard.
It
was an unapologetic, brilliant and exciting old-school adventure film starring perhaps the last true action hero. Full of epic shots. Definitely one to be watched on the big screen.
I have no words. Richard, do you have anything to add?
Just one thing. I feel the need.
Oh, God, I hate you both so much. We're clear.
No? Ben? Anyone?